Hello, good evening, good morning, good lunchtime, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to the Creator Cafe, where I haven't quite timed my musical introduction right there, have I? Because it started all over again with about 15 seconds to go. And 2.5 minutes doesn't seem like a long time when you're busy standing, watching, waiting for something to happen. So, anyway, here we are. And today we're going to be doing a bit of a play about with StreamAlive. Neil and Lux are going to be joining me in a minute or two, but I thought I'd start off with a little bit of a different demo for you and some creative ways of how you might want to use StreamAlive. Now, in this instance, I put up a QR code at the beginning of the session. Now, actually, the big secret about StreamAlive is that you don't need a QR code. You can go straight into whatever platform that you are using, so that is Zoom or YouTube or LinkedIn. Just type in the comments and everything will get fed into the maps, word clouds and everything else. So we're going to do a bit of that later on, and Neil's going to jump on and explain how we've got everything configured, because it's incredibly complicated what we're doing, but it doesn't need to be. For most people in the world, it will just be a single platform, and you will plug StreamAlive into your platform, type into the platform, and it will drive all of the diagrams on the platform. Now, I do have a bunch of comments coming in, so hey Val, hey Saeed, and hi Chris, and hi Neil, and seeing them all in the distance there, but because of my slightly failing eyes, I'm not necessarily seeing all of the comments from this far away, being as I'm standing up. However, what I'm wanting to do is to show you a couple of little examples of what we could be doing with StreamAlive. So if I bring in my next slide on the slide deck, I should say, or not, as the case may be. Oh, resume interaction. Remember to do that one. And then come forward onto the screen very unprofessionally and make sure that you clicked onto Ecamm before trying to use my little slider to bring things forwards. So my first question, and one of the things about StreamAlive is that you can configure all of the backgrounds and the colors and things like that. So you don't have to have them looking as terrible as me here. But what I have tried to do is sort of blend that in with the little red lines in the corners there, just to make things look fancy. And I can already see that chat and QA is coming in as one of the most important engagement tools. So I've got my phone here, and mine is connected to that QR code, so I can type in just an answer of 1, 2, 3 or 4, and that answer will then pop in there as well. So I've said screen shares are the most important thing. So very, very quick and easy, and these are all coming in real time. So if I just then want to move on to my next slide, and this is just a few examples really, but let's move on to the next one. So I come off of here, and on my iPad I'm going to move forward a scene within the StreamAlive application, and then on Ecamm I can use my clicker to go forward a scene here, which brings in my slide question for me. So what's one word that describes your favorite engagement tool? So one word answers. If you type those into the StreamAlive app, they're going to start popping up on my little overlay there. So I'm going to have a go as well, except for I'm going to be very boring and type in test, because that's about the limit of my spelling when it comes to online pressing of multiple buttons and multiple things all at once. So what will happen is, if several people put in the same word, then that's going to come up a bit bigger. You can choose to have some of these appear vertical as well as horizontal. I've chosen just to have mine horizontal because I've got slightly wider aspect ratio going on the screen, but you can see this is almost instantaneous from the app straight into the tool, which I think is really, really cool. So let's have a look at another one, because we've got a couple in there. So again, I'm going to turn off my slide, move forward one in my deck on StreamAlive, and then bring that back up so it looks like I'm running through a presentation. if my clicker's going to work, which it is eventually. And then I'm going to get up my next question set. And in this particular case, I've said, what's a clever way that you've seen used to engage people? So in this particular case, it's just come up with my test answer. And I'm going to put chat into mine. And that's going to pop up on the screen any second now. And alongside with my name as well. And here we go, different things. Apparently I'm the super engaging factor. I didn't type that in, somebody else did. I can't see from here. I suspect Neil, being as he's laughing in the background there. So lots of different ways that you can get things to appear, and I knew Lux was going to get in there with StreamAlive as its favourite engagement tool. So lots of different ways you could get things to appear on here, and I'm just going to flick through as well some different scenes potentially that I've got set up in the background. So you can imagine these are the different types of scenes that I could have set up, and I could have my StreamAlive overlay sitting over the top. I can also set green screen on StreamAlive as well. So if we can imagine the map that we had earlier, I could just have that showing up effectively with a green screen background, so it would be showing up my cafe stage in the background. Or I could have set up my background to look something like this, so I could focus the attention on the presentation. Now I've been a bit clever. I put my presentation in on my iPad as a camera as well, so I could, if I wanted to, flick around between me being black and white and the camera being black and white for the presentation. So I could have a bit where I'm highlighted in colour and then flick it back so I'm black and white and the presentation's in colour. So flicking between the two of those, just a different way to grab a bit of interest for the user as well. And it's just because I brought this in as a camera on my iPad. That does allow me to do a few other things as well. So I have noticed that I can apply some LUTs on the camera, and it really sharpens up the text for me as well. So up to me what I want to have as my different scenes, all set up for me. And of course I could have StreamAlive in the center, or I could have a couple of wonderful guests join me. Well, all right, and Q, there's a couple of wonderful guests joining me. So hello Neil.
Hello Martin.
I'm feeling a little bit small.
That's all right. That's all right. We're just tearing over you. Hey, Lux, thanks for joining today. How you doing?
My pleasure, Neil. My pleasure, Martin. Thank you.
And glad to have you with us, Lux. And Neil's got control over some comments here. If we want a really bizarre looking odd scene, we can bring up, Saeed's in the house. Thank you very much. So he's able to comment directly in, and Neil's brought Saeed's comments in.
Well, yeah, Saeed is basically saying that we should be calling, Lux and not Lut, just not to get confused with the lookup table versus look. Well,
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
that sounds like Saeed, yes.
Thanks, Val, for being here as well. Look at this.
Thank you for being in the guest area, moderating for us and making sure, again, that nobody says nasty things about Neil and that they then appear up on the feed. You were able to stop those happening, and I know it happens all the time. So essentially, that's my mini demo for the day. Just some ideas about getting creative with how you combine Ecamm and StreamAlive and overlay the two together, and a little bit of green screen going on. But what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to flick over to a scene with just Neil in it, and Neil is going to take you through the complicated setup. And in the background, what I'm going to do is try and move around and get into the right place for camera to be able to be sitting down. So Daniel, I see you in the comments. Look away now. I shouldn't be doing this. All right, Neil, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I'll be on full screen for a second, and then we'll have a chat. All right. Thank you, everybody. Well, as you can see, it's not Martin anymore. It's me. And we just wanted to talk to you about how we've set this up, and we've obviously been chatting with Lux over the last couple of days in terms of what we've been doing and how we've been setting this up from a a Restream perspective. Now, for those of you who don't know, StreamAlive has recently introduced a plugin which is used on Chrome that allows people using Restream to basically have full interaction with StreamAlive using the Restream plugin. Now, what that means for us is that if you are multi-streaming to various destinations, the whole purpose of using Restream, it means that all StreamAlive comments now can come into the Restream platform. So places like Twitch and YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever your streaming platform destinations are configured in Restream, you can now augment all that chat and consolidate it into the Restream chat, and StreamAlive will then populate its wonderful magic using this plugin that will allow you to have interaction with multiple audiences across multiple platforms. So traditionally you would have to tag StreamAlive to either YouTube or Zoom or whatever it is. Now with the power of this plugin and using the Restream chat, you can now use that across your multiple platforms. And we're going to be demoing that a little bit later because I've got my Restream chat plugged in to the plugin for StreamAlive. Now, how we're doing this right now in terms of where we're actually broadcasting to, I just wanted to quickly show you on this not so fancy diagram. So at the moment, me in this little Mac here on the left is basically where I am streaming from Ecamm. And actually, I'm not the one who's broadcasting this show today. Martin, with his Uber fiber connection, is basically broadcasting this for me because Martin was doing some fancy stuff, as you saw at the top of this stream with his presentations. So Martin's actually initiating the destination to Restream from Ecamm. It's a single destination, so that's why I use Restream. I'm only using Starlink. I don't have a fiber connection, so for me to be able to multi-stream, it's much easier to use a platform like Restream. So I've got a single destination, as you can see here, coming from Ecamm into Restream, and I'm right now going to my socials, which is YouTube, X, and LinkedIn, and I'm pushing this stream out to all those platforms right now. So that means that all chat from those various platforms will be consolidated in Restream. The other part of that is that I've actually done something called Restream pairing. So Martin's got a free Restream account, and anybody can sign up for a free Restream account. And what that allows me to do is send Martin the URL for the stream that I'm currently doing right now. And that's basically pushing out to all Martin's socials because he's connected his free Restream account to that. So now he's going to YouTube and LinkedIn. And then the same for Lux. So I gave Lux my URL yesterday for Restream pairing, and he set his connection up to YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, and about a million other places as well. So there's lots of places now where we're actually multi-streaming to just by using the single Restream pairing account. And then on the top of that, we've got all the chat messages consolidated from that single Restream instance on my account going into StreamAlive. So yes, it looks quite complicated how we've got this set up, but effectively using the simple Google Chrome plugin, allowing Restream to consolidate all that chat into StreamAlive means now I've just got one place to look for the chat, and all the chat messages would come in from multiple destinations into StreamAlive, which we'll be going to show you about in a few moments. So hopefully that has explained it. Everybody's suitably confused or disappeared now, but that's effectively what we're doing. And you can make this as simple or as complicated as you want. But for people who are using Restream and multi-streaming to these various destinations, this new plugin that StreamAlive have popped out a few weeks ago means it's so much easier now for us to get all that consolidated chat and audience interaction and participation in one place. All right, that was my quick demo, Martin. If you want to switch us over now to your other screen with the three of us, if you're still there. Oh, you want me to go to, hang on, which one do you want me to go to? You want to go to StreamAlive already? Let's go to the StreamAlive one. All right,
let's
here we
go
go.
to StreamAlive. And I've got the wrong camera pointing at me.
Don't worry, I've resumed. Let me just resume interaction. So right now I've got my StreamAlive connected to Restream via the plugin. So anybody that's in the chat, please answer this question. How do you engage with your audiences today? This is a word cloud, so you can put any chat in that you want from any of the platforms, and hopefully we'll see some words pop in a second. I have reset the results, so we should be seeing something come in a second, I hope. I did see it before when people were chatting. Now there's some LinkedIn messages come in. I am sending you a text from LinkedIn. Okay, thanks, Val. But as you can see, it's popping in to the StreamAlive already, and I'm seeing all this on my Restream chat right now. So we've got Lux saying chat, Chris Stone stream chat. There you go. So we're getting all this popping in now. So you can see for yourselves that the StreamAlive Restream Chrome plugin is working like a champ. Zoom chat. There you go. So we've got audio, Xing, tweeting, lots of different answers. So these are all coming in via Restream, which is great. I'm not sure, Lux, if we've got anybody in your Twitch or LinkedIn that's coming in. I haven't seen any LinkedIn messages as yet, but that doesn't mean to say people are doing that. But I might go onto my LinkedIn and just maybe pop in a message from there whilst we're all talking amongst ourselves.
So I put some stuff on your X, and that worked perfectly. I tried it from our YouTube, and that worked. For some reason, my Restream connection to LinkedIn was broken, as in something on my Restream settings. So I'm only streaming now to YouTube and Twitch at this time.
That's okay. That's it. At least we're getting enough there. Let me just go quickly onto my Restream because we're testing. I can actually see it now. If I just join, I can tap to join. Oh yeah, I can see all the chat messages as well coming into LinkedIn. That's okay. That's it. At least we're getting enough. Let me just go quickly onto my Restream. And now I'm hearing my voice in the background, which is never a good thing. If I just join,
and that's me on Twitch, and that came through as well.
And oh yeah, you're twitching, and I just said hi from LinkedIn, and that's coming in. So, first off, we've got a lot of interference from the phones. I'm going to move my phone out of the way. First off, Lux, thank you so much for actually putting this together with your team, because one of the things I wanted to do for Restream, because I'm a Restream user, is I just wanted all those comments to be in one single place. Somebody's mentioning grandma there. I'm not sure why that is. But how do you engage with the audiences today? Via your grandma. Okay, Val. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I just wanted to say thank you for the Restream plugin, because it makes my life so much easier now, and it's going to be so much more beneficial to people who are doing multi-streaming or in environments where you can't have multi-stream from one place. So yeah, thank you. And
my pleasure. We actually pushed it up on the roadmap after the conversation we had about 6 weeks ago, where you explained your use case, and that really helped us because I didn't have to write a whole bunch of things to my colleagues in our dev team. I just took what you said, replayed it there, and that totally helped them. I'm glad it's working as it should. Good.
It's great. I mean, as you can see, and we've got all kinds of chat messages come in, and you've got the Social Stream Ninja plugin as well, Martin, on this side, right? So I could just put a chat message in there. There you go. There you go. So we're using lots of different plugins today. So Social Stream Ninja is another plugin that we're using just to bring in the chat in different places. But StreamAlive has had some updates recently, Lux, in terms of sort of quality of life improvements, as people call it, in terms of UI improvements and things. Maybe there's a few things you could tell us a little bit about what's been included over the last few weeks, and actually something that's just been included yesterday that we didn't even realize, which is fantastic, which we can talk about.
No, I mean, I think the central thing is, how do we make it even easier for people, right? Because as we add more and more of these extensions and plugins and things, while the objective is to make it simpler, there is a very tangible risk of making it more complicated as well, because the workflow will be different for a Chrome extension. As Martin was sharing a little while back, if you're running it on Chrome in your iPad, it's a little different than if you're running it in your laptop. So one of the challenges has been, how do we have at least some part of the workflow anchored within the app and rooted in, this is consistent across. So we've done a lot of revamps to the whole presentation module, because that is a core of it, right? The slides that you have, the interactive slides that you have. So done a lot of things on making those really simple to use, intuitive to use, easy to create a quick slide or two, uh, cater to different profiles of users. We found that there are some folks who love to pre-plan all their slides and decide their conversation beforehand and go next with what they have, and sometimes riff a little bit. And there are others, especially in the streaming ecosystems, who just want to go total improv and total riffing it without anything prepared, right? So making sure the workflow embraces both of these equally simply was a big challenge for us, and therefore a lot of focus on making that easy for someone to do. So if you just wanted to run with an icebreaker of asking people where they're joining from and maybe have a Q&A session in the end, and that's all you want to do, StreamAlive can handle that in very much the same way as if you were to prepare an entire interactive presentation and run it. So in line with that also, I don't know if you saw the update today, but launched about half a dozen new themes as well, because not everybody has the creative muscle of Martin to create all those backgrounds and looks and feels and everything. So just a few out of the box themes for people to get started. So you can pick something that is close to your brand in some way, but each of those things can be customized to any extent that you want possible. So a lot of things on the visual look and feel, so that someone who's just using it out of the box can also make it look the way they want. And as you discovered earlier in today's conversation, that includes format updates that you didn't see yesterday and you saw today, which actually was in response to something that Martin asked. So I'll let Martin or you, Neil, talk about the most recent feature that I was very happy to share with you today.
So yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Martin. I can maybe show in a minute on the screen, but go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I'd been asking Lux for square versions of StreamAlive, because if you can imagine the screen that we're looking at the moment, if I try cropping it, it's not going to work. If I try shrinking it down, it's going to look really, really tiny if I'm trying to produce any kind of vertical video. So what I really wanted was square video, so I could have square Q&A at the top, and effectively me and a guest, or me and multiple guests on the bottom half of the screen, and we could effectively have a very compact looking Q&A going on pretty much any platform out there in vertical format. And myself and Neil have been talking about doing a vertical only show, because I don't think anyone's actually doing it at the moment, because the beauty of that is that you could then record it and repurpose it onto multiple platforms or stream it out to multiple platforms at once. But there is no way of really getting that user engagement in the square format. So suddenly, 5 minutes before we're about to go live today, Lux says, "Oh, we've just put that in." So I hadn't seen it yesterday when I'd done all of my setup, but I think Neil's going to give you a quick glance of or sneak peek of what's just been introduced literally within the last 24 hours on StreamAlive. And I will be playing with this tomorrow, but it's this lovely little button up there where we've got a horizontal picture and we've got a square picture as well. So
yeah,
look at that. Can we go through some of the examples in there as well, Neil? I'm interested to see what the different slides look like.
Yeah. So these are really well formatted now, and this is obviously something that was really wanted specifically when we're doing vertical shows and vertical formatted material. And I think the implementation is really nice. Let me just see if I can find something else real quick. Let's do the choice circle. So when this is obviously displayed in the, let me just look at the preview mode. So when we go to preview mode, it's just generating.
I hope the preview works for the vertical format too. Not too sure if we've tweaked that yet for the vertical. No, that's still.
I think it's still 16 by 9 by the look of things, but yeah. That's okay. I mean, we can double test it. Sorry, let me just go back. Look back in. We can certainly double check and check that out. But in terms of the way that this will help now without having to do this cropping and sort of reformatting, we're definitely going to be testing that out. So as I was talking with Martin just pre-show, we've certainly got some ideas for the for the next show coming up. We did actually have a question come in from Val, Lux, that you may be able to answer. I know the answer to this, but I'll let you answer that. So the question from Val is, how do you deal with bots or nasty comments?
Great question and very relevant. The honest answer is we don't have, and I don't think anyone has 100% foolproof solution, but we do have a couple of checks and balances. So there is a profanity filter that is there for most of the open-ended questions. So let me take a step back, right? There are some features which are open-ended and some which are closed-ended. So polls are obviously closed-ended because if there's choices of A, B, C, and D, there is little that a bot can do besides choosing A, B, C, and D, right? If it is the magic maps feature, it's in a very geographical state of mind. So unless something sounds like a city, town, or a country, it's not going to acknowledge that particular response. So some features have natural filters towards ensuring that anything untoward is not captured because it's not relevant for the feature itself. Having said that, we do have quite a few features that are rooted in open-ended questions. So the word cloud, the talking tiles, which is two of my co-founders are major Tetris fans. So it's inspired by Tetris, all these falling tiles that disappear after a while. They had to plug that in just to give a little hat tip to their favorite game. And then the transient thoughts that we saw a little while back with the thought bubbles, all of them are places where people can say anything that we may not want to put in a center screen. So as Neil is showing here, we've got the filter out profanity thing over there in language, where if you were to turn that on, most standard profanity in multiple languages, I think it includes English, Spanish, and Hindi, and a couple of other languages at this time when you're expanding, would be filtered out. Now, someone who wants to put profanity can get pretty creative about it, and there are ways to get around it. So it's not foolproof by any measure, but it's learning, improving. For questions and things in the word cloud, we do have a moderation feature where people can remove out things and put them as negative words, and they can't be put a second time afterwards. We're trying to figure out the best way of doing it for some of the other features like talking tiles, because in theory, it's possible to have a queuing feature and say nothing's going to show up on screen till someone says this has been blessed. But that's going to increase latency and slow down the experience. So I don't know if you folks have any good ideas on how we do it without detracting from the user experience. Because if you had a moderator in between and they needed to say click on the green signal before something gets on there, it might be a few seconds, and that's not the best experience, right? But constantly learning on that.
I think, and thanks for your answer. I think it's a difficult one to answer. And this is, by the way, this isn't a challenge to Saeed to start being creative with his German and to try and test the profanity filter. So just to point that out for a second, not that he would, I'm just kidding. But in terms of the user experience, I think the beauty and the thing that people really love about StreamAlive is it's very, very quick. It's very dynamic. You're posting your comment in the chat, and within a couple of seconds it's there on the screen, and that's what people want. That's I guess some of the biggest problems with YouTube chat and things like that when we're doing live stream. And I know every platform is slightly different depending on how you set up your YouTube stream. There could be anything between a 15 and a 30-second delay before a chat message comes in that somebody sent, and then we see it and then we respond to it. So I think the beauty of StreamAlive is the fact that it's almost instantaneous. You're getting that responsiveness, that feedback immediately. And I think that's really important, especially when you're doing a workshop. Nobody wants to sit back and wait for the comments to come in. You want to have that interaction, and you want your presentation to be more dynamic and more fluid. And I think StreamAlive lends itself to do that. In terms of moderation, I guess all you can do is put in as many sort of inbuilt profanity filters as possible. I know that there are lists of various comments and phrases that people use in the moderating world that they reference a particular list, but that is still a manual thing. I don't know whether there's a way of potentially uploading a similar list to StreamAlive, so it's using AI to read that and then sort of dynamically filter it out. Obviously, machines can learn and process these things quicker than a human just looking at it and determining whether that should be allowed through or not. So I don't know. It's a tricky one, but you can only do so much. I mean, especially when you're in these types of environments. And I think it's about how people use and think about how they use StreamAlive in terms of the use cases. If you're in a closed Zoom environment in an organization like I was talking to you about yesterday, it's pretty much a safe environment and it's a work environment. So, you know, if you do say something a little bit naughty, then there's repercussions. On a live stream on Twitch where you've got 30,000 gamers looking at stuff, it's another minefield altogether. So I don't know. We'll find out when we start going live to the unknown, which is YouTube Shorts, which is another underworld as in itself. Who knows what we might get? We'll be testing it out, I think, Lux, is the answer very soon.
And just to react on a couple of things you said. First on the AI part, right? We've been experimenting with some things which I have mixed views about it. Like, it's theoretically possible, and we did some experiments where we saw it coming up in some interesting ways, where we could say that any responses to, let's say the question you have on screen right now, how do you engage your audiences today? We could have an AI that says, only allow responses that seem plausible responses to this question. So if someone were to say hamburger, for example, it might get a little too stringent and say, no, a hamburger is not a way you would engage your audience today, and therefore not allow that, although it's not profanity by any stretch of imagination, because it's simply not relevant to the question. But hey, maybe there was a creative question and hamburger was a creative answer on how you want to engage people, because that's a sure way to engage people if you have a plate of free hamburgers out there in a session, right? So you can veer a little too much on either side. So we're trying to figure out the best way of doing it. Plus, if you introduce a layer of AI there, irrespective of how you engineer it, it's always going to add a few, reduce the latency a little bit, right? So we want a blocked word list, absolutely. So we do have a blocked word list for each session, and you must be a fly on the wall on the roadmap, because the plan is to have a list that you can have as a global list. So we do have one of those on our backend. We plan to expose it out and say, hey, this is a block word list. Add on to it anything else that you want to put in there. So that's the way we're doing it right now, and we want to increase that a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Val. Yeah, this is well, I think the list that I was mentioning, where people have in the moderator world this list of whatever, and if there's a way of uploading that and maybe checking that would be great. And I do agree with you what you said, Lux, about using AI, because if you're using AI to base its filtering on the context and the rationale of the question being asked, as you said, there could be creative people wanting to actually say something, so that might detract, I guess, from the ease of use and the way that people can actually interact itself. So yeah, I guess we shall see, but you can go too far, and maybe there's a way of, I don't know, having a slider that people can tweak and change and try, but I guess you don't know what people are going to say, right? That's the unknown as well. People have free will, they can say whatever they want, so we're not 100% sure whether we're going to be able to capture everything, but I guess use it wisely and use it in the right environment. I think that's what we've got to do. I think with word clouds like this, where anything that will be posted in the chat will be shown, is obviously very different from something where you've got the live poll. So with a live poll, you've got the answers, and those answers are going to be filtered by StreamAlive anyway. So you can put the letter or the number or whatever the respective point is for that live poll. And I think also StreamAlive will take maybe first part of the answer, if it's a longer worded answer, as a reference to that. So that's pretty cool, and I think that's a safe way. If you've got a large audience, maybe that's something that people should consider using, that will help with anything that potentially might come through that's not very nice.
Yep. And just to add there, Neil, you could also, right now, you haven't added any of us as moderators to this. You're running it entirely on your own. So we could have done it if we were moderators, but if you were to click on the edit button on the top right, and let's say you did not like the answer grandma, and you deleted the word grandma out there in the right side, if you just click on the
I see. Well,
on the right hand, if you remove grandma bottom.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, if you just delete that.
Oops, it's paused. Hang on. I'm
then
clicking.
You kind of. Yeah, probably.
Maybe it's my.
Thinking over there, and if you just close the moderate entries now, at least the way it is supposed to have worked, I think it's something clunky on the current version of the moderate entries, but it's supposed to remove grandma,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not letting me do it. Maybe it's because my interaction's paused.
StreamAlive loves grandmas, so maybe that's hard coded into the platform.
That's because Val put that in, so we're not allowed to delete anything that Val's put in. So
yeah, Val's our moderator. You see, she has the wrench of power, as we like to call it, against the YouTube name. So yeah, she's basically put that in, and we can't remove it. Oh, that's really funny. Did you just delete my grandma? We wouldn't do that, Val, to you, but
we wouldn't do that.
We're trying. We're trying. So yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of interesting stuff with StreamAlive, particularly the vertical format and things like that. I just wanted to go on to another question that people might be able to answer, and then we can go back to you, Lux, about that. Let's just resume this interaction. So features you'd like to see for better engagement. This is not necessarily relating to StreamAlive, but what things, and this is a question to the audience, what things in terms of when you're engaging on your live streams or workshops or presentations, what sort of types of features would you like to see sort of for better engagement? That could be a particular feature in something like StreamAlive. It could be something that you found useful, whether it be telestration or something like that. But what do you feel is a feature or something that would be good to have for better engagement? So please answer that in the chat. I know there's about a 15 or 20 second delay from me saying something for people interacting. But if you want to interact, this is a different visual style now in StreamAlive. In fact, I can interact as well. So
yeah, so I find the whole interaction side of things totally interesting. When you ask people what is good engagement, then basically people just want to see themselves on the screen in some way, shape or form. So whether it is a little cloud like that with your name next to it, or whether it is their name popping up next to the location they are in the country, or whether it's just their comment that they put up appears in a word cloud, that suddenly is good engagement, because that's what ultimately people want to see, that they are being recognized as taking part in the event or presentation or show that you are putting across. And there's nothing more special than getting noticed by everyone else. So I think all of these are good engagement tools because they are letting people physically take part in the stream very, very easily and getting themselves noticed. And ultimately, that's the big pat on the back for them all. Hey, I got noticed on the stream.
Yes, I agree. And I think there's many benefits to using StreamAlive over posting chat in like we would typically do on a live stream, because there's a lot, especially when you're presenting and you want to sort of draw your audience in and ask them specific targeted questions. It's a lot sometimes to go through and try and sift through the chat to find those respective answers. And if you're using something like a StreamAlive poll, where you've got a set of answers that you want to engage your audience with, then all they can do is really just vote and have a poll on that particular set of questions. So it does make it easier for the moderator or the person that's running the show. And not very often we're just a one-person show, right? One person is actually running the whole thing. So they're dealing with the chat, they're dealing with the switching the scenes, they're dealing with the messaging, the presentation, whatever it might be. So there's many things I think that StreamAlive can help just ease the stress of actually running a show yourself. We're very fortunate that we've got Martin here who's been doing all of the sort of heavy lifting today, and Lux is interacting as well. So I mean, it's great when there's three people, but if you're on your own, then there you go. Oh, somebody said hi from Niels X. Thank you, Lux. See, so it's chugging away. There's no problem with this Restream plugin. It's working like a champ.
So we do have a question coming that said, would love to curate quotes from the live stream. What do you have to say about that, Lux?
Oops, I pressed the wrong one there. That's interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's an interesting one.
Yeah. So thank you.
Meeting. So I don't know if you're going to be capturing it after the session is over, Neil, and when we finish the session, and I guess you and Martin have seen that there's a huge amount of analytics that StreamAlive gives you, including shareable images of all the interactions that you ran. So my co-founders and I have a strong analytics hangover because the last company we did was in the social media analytics space. So that's one of the first modules we built out for StreamAlive. So post session, it gives you, we will hopefully be able to show it to you after the session for this particular one, but tells you how many people joined, how many comments they put, how the flow, the ebb and flow of chat comments went through the session. And you'll see that time and again when you run an interaction, and to what Martin said earlier, just simply acknowledge and include and have people up there on the screen, they tend to participate a lot more because they know that what they type actually matters and is counted. And on an average, we see a 9 times jump. And then one of the modules in that analytics also replays everything that happened. So it would replay all the comments that people gave in response to these answers. And you could filter it and take the ones that you like and use it as collateral afterwards if you wanted. Hopefully I answered. I don't know if that exactly was a question in terms of the quotes, but that might help. And Neil, I'm not sure about the formatting on this, but something I need to check out as well, because the header looks a lot bigger. Is that a different resolution you moved
I
to,
think
or is it
it's because this is just being displayed on my iPad because it's right in front of me. Because
okay.
if I moved it around, it would work. In fact, if I could just click on here a second, can I just would like to edit this. Is it possible for me to edit without breaking the interaction, or?
No, unfortunately not.
No.
You're looking to edit the title in real time?
Yeah. Okay. I do need
Not
to
right
edit
now.
there. I was going to. It's just me how I've done this. What I've done here, unfortunately, is created black text on a black background, because that's never going to work. So we had a question from Joseph, who was asking around, will StreamAlive use bar charts for its answers? And yes, it will. Unfortunately, you can't see my my.
Have you chosen
points
black
here,
bars though as well, Neil? If
I
you
don't think it
type
uses
in
black
1,
bars.
2, 3, or 4, we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm just going to type in 1. So yeah, please go ahead. Just type in 1, 2, 3, or 4 and see what the charts. I think I made them purple because I like purple. So hopefully one of these will come in a second. Actually, the interaction is pause. Let me just resume interaction. So if you'd like to type in 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat, and the question was, what streaming platforms do you use? Number 1 is YouTube. Number 2 is Twitch, I think. Number 3 is LinkedIn, and 4 is others. So if you do 1, 2, 3, or 4, you'll see. And hopefully, Joseph, that answers your question. So there's different types of interactions and bar charts and color schemes and things that you can do. My advice is never use a black background with black text. But, that's design 101 right now, especially with 5 minutes to go to a live stream. But you get the idea. Yes.
Neil, I don't know if you've seen this, but if you click on the plus button on the left-hand side to just go off script, if that's okay with you, the plus
Yeah,
on
of
the
course.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you were to run a new poll, let's say the power poll, if you choose the first one,
Oh, there
and
you
you
go.
choose
I
a
can
theme
do
at this
one.
point, let's select one of the other themes so we don't have a black one on the top. So you can pick any
maybe
of them.
linen. Yeah,
let's do linen. Linen sounds good. I got to do laundry, so linen sounds good.
Okay.
Right. And okay. Did we edit?
Oh, you have to choose the Oh, look, and I've made it square. So we're testing out the square format.
We're testing the square as well. Okay, I don't know how we chose the square one, but great. It's just that too.
Yeah.
We're
He's very clever, you know.
Yeah, I'm doing it in the background. I think it's because of my StreamAlive on this particular one here. I've actually left it at square. So this is my account. So if I move it to widescreen and I create a new one, let's try that, shall we? Open-ended polls. Let's do that. I don't know.
You might have to select the theme again for the color, but let's type the question first here.
Yeah, I think you have to put the question first, right? So the question is, let's do an open-ended poll. Best Netflix series. Okay, and then let's do the theme, and let's do heading, and let's do go. I know it still keeps the square, but that's okay. Maybe I've just said it. So best Netflix series. I don't know. We have got a million options. You just have to do 1, 2, or 3, or 4. I see. This is what happens. Yeah, I have to put all these options in. But you get the idea that we can actually do all these things. Squid Games. Looks the same. There you go.
He's got quick on the draw there.
Oh, I see. Actually, so because it's an open-ended poll, you can type in what you want, and it's going to populate it up to the first 10 answers, and then it'll work out. So if I do Squid Games as well, that's going to. And let me just think of something else. There we go. This one will come up in a second. There you go. The Netflix series of Lockdown, Tiger King. There you go. Black Mirror. Black Mirror is also a good one. I think I've spelled that wrong, but never mind. Yeah, so people, if you want to put in the chat your favorite Netflix series.
So we all know what we're going to be doing after the show. So this is the sort of help that we give people who tune in.
But going back to Lux's point about pulling all the stats, now if you if you want to know now what the best Netflix series is, you can just pull the stats from StreamAlive. It'll tell you how many people have basically given the percentage for something else. There's so many. Karate Kid, is that a series on Netflix, really? Lux, is that right?
Oh, sorry, Cobra Kai. That's the name I was searching for. Cobra Kai.
Ah,
yes.
right, no problem. No problem.
Living in the past.
To the 1980s there.
You are living in the past. Mr. Magasaki, or whatever his name. What's his name? I can't remember.
Miyagi-san.
Yeah.
Miyagi-san, yes.
That's the one.
That's really funny. So there's, I will be investigating and looking at not the Netflix series, but all the other new interactions. And you said there's some new interactions, and is there new themes as well? Because there's, as you said, people particularly just want to run and gun it. They just want to set something up very quickly and then sort of not even bother with the branding, just like we've done today. Just pick a particular theme and then just run with it. So is there more options coming for themes and styles, and particularly the visualization styles?
We just dropped 8 new themes today.
Oh, wow.
And the idea is to add a whole bunch of them, also inspired by popular culture and seasons of the year and things. So pick one that speaks to you at that point or to your brand and use it. So the plan is to have a whole bunch of ready-made themes. And you can also add your own picture to it, add transparency to it. So I got a theme that has slices of pizza on every slide. And I try not to do it in the morning because it makes me hungry, but hey, if that's what you want to do, you can.
So that makes it much easier. Go ahead, Martin.
No, I'm actually looking at this here, and I just like the square version even more than I did before I seen it, because if you've only got 1 or 2 word answers, you don't need a wide screen to display that. It just doesn't make any sense for it to be displayed on a very wide screen. So the square version, I could see, for instance, the 3 of us sitting there, and then an equal square for the presentation feedback. So we're all sitting in a nice squared window, effectively, all matching. And I think that would look very nice.
Yeah, I should also add that...
go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, go on, Neil.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's easier to build a feature within the company when you have a mental picture of whom you're building it for. So the mental picture for our team for the square one is you, Martin. And the mental picture for the restream thing that we're testing is you, Neil, because those are the first conversations we had asking for those. So there are little mugshots of you, and I promise it's not on a dartboard in our office, or tons of people saying, we're building
I'm not sure I like being a mental picture anymore.
I don't know. I mean, that's the vision of nightmares, Lux, for some people. I mean, but as it is, that's fine. Well, we really appreciate that, and thank you for implementing these things. I mean, as you know, we're big fans of StreamAlive, and the fact that you can just get this interaction up and running very quickly. And I love the fact that it will even show emoticons, which I'd forgotten about. So you can put your emojis in there, especially in these types of settings where it's just a free-for-all. So that could be rather interesting and scary at the same time. So yeah.
And thank you,
so
thank you,
Martin,
Mr. Magnetic, for firing things into the stream.
So Martin, you think that our next show is probably going to be a vertical format of this, but a little bit more sort of themed around some of the new interactions, visualization styles, and asking quite a few different questions using StreamAlive. I can see getting these populated now into things like LinkedIn and social posts where nobody's using it. And think about having a sort of a pre-formatted video where you could take a sort of a snapshot from a long form live stream and then repurpose that now into a short form something like that you could post out on your socials, and people will be going, how are you getting this live interaction in this vertical format? So yeah, I think that's going to drive a lot of questions in a good way, and to popularize StreamAlive and how you can use that. It's very exciting.
I totally think so too. I mean, Martin showed me what he was doing with the LinkedIn vertical format. I think it's pretty cool. And during one of our internal testing, one of our team members, we keep running these YouTube live sessions sometimes just to test stuff out, right? And he did a vertical format thing before we launched this feature on YouTube Shorts, and he said he just saw about 10 times the number of traffic that YouTube normally sends for a live stream with the Shorts format. And then it seems to measure how many of them are staying on and stuff. So it was pretty interesting for us as well as we were experimenting with this.
Well, as you know, YouTube has just introduced longer form shorts, which is a bit confusing. So they've increased the duration now to 3 minutes. I think they did that a couple of weeks ago. And the other thing they're doing is adding more and more around communities. So they're making communities to be more interactive, where people can comment almost like a Facebook type thread, or like a grouping of different ways of getting the community to speak to each other. So I'm thinking now with using StreamAlive into the shorts, that's going to sort of push more of the conversation, I think. Like, how are you guys doing that? Making more of the interactions, particularly if we're going to be doing it live and showing that off. And there's so many vertical formatted platforms out there. Everybody wants to do vertical, and that's the way it is. We are, people who would just scroll through our phone, and if you can come across something like Martin's produced in LinkedIn, for example, that's a bit of a scroll stopper, as I like to call it, because people aren't really doing that right now. They just got their phone and it's the usual thing, and it's cut off and it's not very well produced. And I think this will lend itself to elevating and producing much better quality of vertical formatted short form content for people, and specifically when we're going live as well. So it's going to be fun. I was going to ask you, anything you can share with us that may be coming up in the future that you can share? I think you've already mentioned a few things, but if there's anything you want to let us know about and let the audience know about before we
I've got a request. I didn't know I needed it before today, but I now need a Chrome extension plugin for the iPad.
I think it's the iPad that's the blocker. Not you can create the Chrome extensions, but I think it's the Apple ecosystem that doesn't allow Chrome extensions. But I think you might do Safari, so I don't know whether that's a possibility. Looks to have a Safari extension for this, but I don't know.
Candidly, we never even. I didn't even know if Safari has an extension ecosystem.
Yeah, it has an extension framework, but I think it's built around sort of Apple's ecosystem.
Okay.
It's a bit more controlled, but that doesn't mean to say you can't use it. There are extensions for Safari, and they are available on the iPad. I have looked into that today, but I don't know. Not that we want to give you any more work.
And the Stream Deck plugin as well. You're going to ask for the Stream Deck plugin as well, Neil, remember?
Oh yeah, Stream Deck plugins. Yeah, that would be useful at some point. But to do some interactions where we could advance the slides, things where we could use the navigation in a bit better way. But that's something for the future, I guess. Because a lot of people, myself included, do use the Stream Deck sometimes on my phone. So if I'm presenting standing up, I can interact with Ecamm and other things using the Stream Deck. So if there was a way of just navigating through the slides easy on StreamAlive, I don't know, but that's like a webhook or something like that, I think.
That's why we need to have conversations like this more often, because as we speak, we were actually pushing a very, very early first cut of a Stream Deck app for StreamAlive. It's in the final stages of Elgato approving it. In fact, I was a student at one of Syed's. To understand this better, Syed runs these classes on Stream Deck, right? So I actually signed up for one of his classes, attended that, helped me understand it a lot better. Actually, Syed helped me add more money to Amazon and buy one of these and play around with it.
There you go.
Our
I hope it was an affiliate link, Syed.
I hope it was. So the first cut is going to be one that just allows you to run the interactions of the Stream Deck. And this is a classic case of missing the most obvious thing. It does not have the next and previous. We probably should have started with that. And then I think in the next cut, we'll probably add that over there, because that's probably the simplest thing to do. Martin, to your question on the iPad thing, one of the things we've been looking at doing is we have this feature which is used it's called a Copilot, where you could run it on a laptop or one machine, and then have a link that is accessed by another machine. So if it's navigating on one, it's happening on the other as well. So that might be a sort of workaround to that, where you could use the iPad for navigation since it's convenient in your show. But what it's effectively doing is pulling it up on a laptop where it's running as well. So the laptop could be running the Chrome plugin, but you're controlling everything from the iPad, and these two are perfectly in sync, the laptop and the iPad. Would something like that help? Or
yeah, I think it probably would. I mean, I could potentially have just run it from a MacBook or something like that. It's just, I had the iPad there. It's very convenient. It's particularly good if you just want to zoom in on areas of the map or move things around on the maps in particular. But actually just zooming in on an answer or something like that, again, it's kind of useful. And of course the moving backwards and moving forwards is very, very easy on the iPad. And it just feels natural as well, rather than staring at a keyboard. It's just a simple tap. That's what they were made for in the first place. Simple, easy use. So yeah, but any alternatives, I'm interested to try out what they are. Yeah.
I definitely like the Copilot idea, because I've used some software before which has that. What is it? It's the teleprompter software. So you could scroll, especially if you want to have the phone just actually navigating that, and it's seamless and it works really well. So yeah, that's a really good one to have. Mr. Magnetic is asking a question. How does it filter out bad words? I think we had that topic a little bit earlier, Mr. Magnetic, so you could watch us on the replay and find that out. But it has got a profanity filter already built in for certain words and things. You just have to be careful how you use any type of live streaming interaction where you've got live chat coming up like right now, for example. So I'm being brave. One question I did have for you, Lux, is the branding here where you have the StreamAlive at the top. Is that an option where it could be removed to have your own branding if it was a corporate or something like that, and not have there's nothing wrong with the StreamAlive branding, but of course if you want to just remove that completely and have it sort of agnostic, if you like.
Yep. So it's a function of the plan you're on and stuff, and which is note to self on your plan. But effectively, some plans do allow you to take out the StreamAlive logo, replace it with whatever logo you want, and all of those things as well. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, two things I'd love to do if we have the time, Neil, is I'm just curious about it because we had a bunch of questions come in. So I'm curious if you pull quick questions, if it identifies all those questions from multi-stream. I'm shamelessly using you to test that for multi-stream.
Oh, no, I have no problem at all. Can I do it whilst it's still running, or do I have to exit out of it?
No, you can do it right while it's running. If you click on the plus button on the left again.
Oh, on the left. Okay, let's do that.
Yep. And click on quick questions. So it should be further down a little bit. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And let's just hit go. You don't have to do anything else.
Oh, look at that.
So, yep, all those questions got captured, but they're a little small with the square format. But yep, did you just delete my guideline?
Yeah, there's a lot. Okay, that's cool.
And the other thing I'd love to test it out for is also, since we had a lot of us come on multiple channels, if you ran the winning wheel again, if you go back to the plus button on the top for any
winning wheel, that's this one, yeah.
Yep. And if you just hit go, it's going to pull all the folks who participated across all the channels. Oh, but
and you're looking for duplicates, are you know?
And the winner is
a whole bunch of names. I promise I did not read this. I swear I did not read this.
Yeah, this happened before. It happens too often, like so.
Yeah, so it's quite small on the square format.
Yep, it's a little too small on the square format, so I think that's something we need to improve. Thank you for the free testing. This is fantastic. Yes.
No, this is great though. I mean, I really like this actually. Let's restart this. Who's going to win? There's no prizes, by the way, but this is another way of. And the winner is
Who said anything about free testing? Are they?
There you go. Exactly. What's interesting for me, Lux, is I do run another show on Mondays, shameless plug, called The Creative Amplifiers, and we do have quizzes on there. And I'm always the one, but Mark is also doing it now, where we have to format the questions, you have to type them in, and then we get a winner, and the winner is the one with the right answer. But I can see better ways of doing this now with StreamAlive, especially when people are making comments. You could just do a random selection, a particular, like a Christmas giveaway or something like that. And yeah, I'm definitely going to start looking at using some of this into the other live show and get more people saying, well, how are you doing that? Because we're all big Ecamm users here, as you know, but Ecamm can't do things like this, and we have to rely on great third-party interactive tools like yourselves to be able to do it. So yeah, I do like that. So you've given me some other food for thought,
gamification stuff in there as well. So in terms of other gamification, you can look at top commenter and things like that. So it will tell you who has given the most comments on your stream and that type of thing as well. I don't know if that comes on the quick.
The last one, right in the bottom, the fantastic fans.
The fantastic fans.
Oh, Val.
Look at that.
You're a fantastic fan. Look at that. Thank you so much. Val says that she'd like to win a new car. Well, I'm not sure
maybe
we can make that happen, but maybe next time. Yeah, exactly. You can win yourself an used Tesla. Just needs a new battery. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just about to tell you, since you folks come up with these amazing requests, there's a feature we just built. We haven't even announced it. It's there in the product, but it's not public. It's not even where you can have a bunch of quiz questions. Ooh. So StreamAlive does have quiz questions now because we're being used in a couple of colleges where they actually use it to grade students. So we said, let's have a multiple choice thing with the right and wrong answers. And the part which we didn't announce publicly is that you can actually run the winning wheel to say, pull out all the people who answered these 5 questions correctly and spin the wheel among the people who got it right, so that I can pick one of the 8 people who got all 5 questions correctly. So it's still under testing and things, but we do have that.
That would be
available
great
right now. Yeah,
that would save me so much time.
Monday show that might be pretty interesting.
Yeah. All right, I'm making a note of that already. And what's the feature going to be called? Can you?
We haven't even given it a name. So.
Okay. Neil's Wheels.
It's just buried in the. Neil's Wheels sounds great.
The Wheel of Neil? I don't know.
Oh my goodness me. See, I knew there was a new car in there somewhere. But anyway, so thank you for that. That's wonderful. But I really like these features, and I hope people who are obviously in the audience can see the power and the fun, more importantly, that you can have with StreamAlive, because this is I love the way that we can get audience participation, interaction. One, it takes the heat off the presenters because the audience is sort of getting engaged and sort of working with us on this. And I don't know about you guys, but there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than a 2-hour talking head presentation with little to no interaction. I used to be part of a large IT organization working for many, many different customers over 30 odd years. And the town halls on Zoom were just the worst, right? Because you're sitting there and there's people in the Q&A, and then right at the end, people are going, well, here's a question from, and it's just so terrible. Like, if they had something like this to just spice it up a bit, make it a bit more interactive. Here's the top questions, and you could spin the wheel and get the questions. Yeah. People need to adopt that more. We need to get StreamAlive in every corporate organization, and we're going to do it by 2028. That's the plan, all right? You heard it here first.
May your words ring true. Thank you.
Hopefully. Thank you, Val, again, for supporting us. I know you have to probably dip out and go into an Ecamm moderator thing or something like that, but we do appreciate it. We are a little bit over, but I don't mind cracking on with this. Anything else you want to share with us, Lux, or anything you want to test or play around with once we've got people on the call, or anything you want to try? And this is all, by the way, sorry to trouble you, this is all, by the way, still running on the StreamAlive Restream plugin. Everything that you're seeing here is coming in via the Restream plugin, and it's working flawlessly. So again, wonderful.
Ecamm for Zoom. We take it for granted now. We take it for granted, but this is actually a Zoom call that you're looking at, folks. Believe it or not, everything you've seen is just a Zoom call, but a Zoom call within Ecamm.
Oh yeah, we should point out that I'm actually not in Martin's production right now. I'm in my production, and Martin's brought me in as a. It's very complicated, but it's seamless. It looks like we're all in the same session, but we're not. Actually, Martin's sharing a camera of my session, and if I went full screen now, it would be horrific. But I'm going to do it anyway. You can see. So basically, that's my screen, what I'm sharing. But when I go to my StreamAlive, I've got a little camera set up with the StreamAlive share, and Martin's got his cameras overlay. That's how we do it. That's how the behind the scenes.
And we can change things around on the fly as well. So if, for instance, I've forgotten to put a call to action at the end of the show about what's happening next week, I could potentially come and drag something into the scene, and it would ask me if I want to add an animated overlay, and I could add an animated overlay of what's going to happen next week.
There he is. There's Saeed.
So next week, that's who's going to be joining us. I will just play that. I could play that on a loop seamlessly forever.
It's going to be fun.
That was my call to action on the fly.
Before we disappear.
I would love to just disconnect from this. I mean, from the StreamAlive session, if you and just see if it pulls up the analytics. And someone asked about the analytics and stuff. So if we click on the exit thing there, hopefully this is not a point where I wish we didn't show this, because we haven't seen the restream reports before. So if you click on the
that'll be this one, 5 p.m. right? Yeah, right. 83 comments posted by 15 people, 2 comments per minute. Wow, you guys are engaging. Highest comment was 7 comments per minute, 9 visual interactions that got 82 responses. That's really good. And then you can just go, oh, look at this. So all the list is there, chat chart. Ooh, that's cool. I don't think my account allows me to do these, but that's okay. But we've got, got lots of interactions.
You can. If you actually click on those, it'll just put the responses out there. Yeah. Any of the bars, cool. If we click on the vertical bars, the colored ones.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, my bad.
We probably need to make it clearer, so that's a good usability issue. Thank you. And then
this is cool. I've never looked into this in detail.
Oh, okay. So,
and shareable images. So does that mean? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, please. Okay. I think the best way is to actually click on it, and so you could click on the share thing and pull it to your LinkedIn or wherever if you want to share those images.
Right. So these are sort of grabs from the interactions that have gone on previously, and you can just. These are great. Wow.
Oh, is that grabbed that as a GIF as well, or is that?
Not yet as a GIF, unfortunately, Martin. Right now it's a static image.
Okay.
We should get to GIFs at some point.
Is it GIF or GIF? I'm not going to start that conversation. So
you're going to start that at the end of it, at the end of the show.
Maybe that's going to be one of our interactions for our next stream on the StreamAlive. Is it GIF or GIF? How is it pronounced? Anyway, this has been fantastic. Look, we can't thank you enough for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to actually just learn about how StreamAlive is evolving, how many new features are coming up, how people are using it, all the things you've implemented, and listening to the community and implementing those. And that's just, we can't thank you enough for that. That's just the power of what you guys do. And it's great that we've had these conversations with you, and we will keep on having these and sharing ideas and letting us know what's coming down the pipe. Anything else from either of you before, I guess, Martin runs his amazing end of show promo?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me, and I mean, you guys are amazing in terms of the feedback you give us and helping us build a better product and helping us spread the word on it. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
So yeah, right, and anybody who's wondering why I'm sitting here with a bit of green screen behind me, go back and watch the beginning of the show. That's there's a reason why I've got half a green screen sitting behind me. So,
it's not terrible production value, anything to do with that. It's high production value today.
Yeah, I'm going to make us disappear and then just put Saeed up onto the screen as our call to action for next week, and say thanks to Lux. I'm just going to let Saeed's face play a couple of times, and everybody else will disappear.
We'll see in a second, Lux, if you hang on for a minute.
As soon as he appears on the screen, I think everyone else is going to start disappearing. Oh, Lux is still there. Don't know why. Why is he letting you keep Lux on there, but nobody else? Why has he got rid of us, Neil?
I think because I won the winning wheel thing.
I think you won the winning wheel. There you go.
Yeah, well, we can still get rid of you.
It's Lux's
Cheerio.
show anyway. So there you
go. So next week, folks, for those of you who don't know Saeed, he is an OBS expert and friend of the show. He's a continuous commenter on just about everything I go on. I don't know whether he actually sleeps at all, but he is using a variety of platforms, tools and techniques to help people with their live streams. So he's going to come on next week. I'm going to be asking him about a platform called Butter, which I don't know much about, but I know he does. So that will be my question for Saeed. Tell us a bit more about Butter. And it sounds like it's going to be a bit of a tongue twister. But anyway, from myself, from Neil, from Lux, it's good night from Edinburgh, Portugal and New York. And I'm going to finish about, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 streams all at once now by clicking this finish button. So see you later. Cheerio. Bye for now.